This is My Quebec City, your stories. Not too many things bring people together, like sports, the fandom, the camaraderie. The latter, especially if, say, you're looking to meet people and have some fun. What is now known as the Quebec Anglo-Franco Friendship Hockey League aims to do just that. In this episode, we'll listen to a conversation between Peter, who started the league, and Russ and Adam, who now handle its organizational duties. They'll talk about the league's start, the passing of the torch, and favorite memories. Okay, time for this conversation to hit the ice.
My name is Peter Black, and 20 years or so ago, I decided to get together some folks and play some hockey, and it seemed to work.
Russ Grocock. I found out about Peter's hockey group through his son, William, who I taught in grade 6, and I was one of the first members of the hockey team from the beginning. I guess I missed a couple of games in the beginning, and from then on, I was to most of the games that I could get to.
Adam Sherlip. I have been a part of the group now for getting close to 10 years when I moved to Quebec City from Montreal, and before that from New York.
Even though I've never been much of a hockey player, I've always loved playing it. And so I felt, okay, well, before I get too old to skate, let's see if this might work. And what happened, or what helped that, was the fact I was in kind of a group at work that was into hockey. So there was kind of a core of players. So, like I was able to get those. And they had friends, and then we sort of went around, grabbing whoever we could. The rest is history, and it's been a wonderful experience. It was never initially intended as a league for Anglophones, although just because my circle of work colleagues, etc., happened to be Anglophone, and the others were Francophones, so it became this kind of a harmonious bilingual bunch. So that's how it started, and we started playing at the PEPS, and this is the key point. PEPS offers equipment for rent. So the intention here was really what I'd like to call an opportunity league, to give folks an opportunity to get back on the ice.
I taught William in grade 6, Peter's son, and he mentioned that his dad was starting up this thing, and if I was ever interested in playing, I should just contact him. And then my principal at the time, Phil Joyce, asked me maybe a day or two later about if I'd heard about the hockey group that Peter was starting up, and he was looking for players, and I just thought, well, I'd played all my life in Alberta, and I didn't think about playing hockey when I first moved here because I was busy going to university and raising kids, and so until I got my full-time job, didn't think about it. And I guess timing was the best part for Peter to start up his group and for me to be asked if I was interested. And so I contacted my sister in Alberta to see if there's any old hockey equipment in her basement from her husband or my nephews. And she said, yeah, I have a bag of one of my nephew's hockey equipment sitting in the basement, and I was just going to chuck it out or find somebody else to give it to. And I said, well, you ask Lance if he wants to send his hockey equipment to his uncle. And he said yes. So she boxed it up and sent it to me, and I got a pair of skates and a helmet. And 20 years later, I'm now reffing because I can't play because of a herniated disc, but it's been very enjoyable. And me, it was get together with the guys and play some shinny and then have a beer after. And I've met some amazing people over the years and found out there's one player, Russ Keeber, that's married. He's cousin to my sister-in-law from where I am in Alberta. So that's unique because you meet an awful lot of different people from across Canada and Adam and in other countries too that have came through.
Yeah, for me, when I emigrated in 2015, I was in Montreal, was playing in a league there, made the move basically a year later to Quebec City, and obviously wanted to get on the ice, settle into my new home, my new community. Started with some of the leagues that were organized here, wasn't loving the group, wasn't loving the way they were playing. And I think through VEC, I found out about this group and got in touch with Peter through that. So that was really cool because I only found out about VEC within a few weeks of arriving and was already connected to a bit of the Anglo hockey community right upon arrival. So joined the group, like I said, about 10 years ago, and just obviously always want to get on the ice. It's my happy place. Obviously want to play with a good group, people that I like, want to get a workout in. I mean, so much of my life has been connected to hockey. All my opportunities in life, I feel like hockey's been connected to it. And so it's just been a joy, and seeing the ebbs and flows now of the group and just wanting to keep the momentum going as best I can at this point is really gratifying.
Old man time. He kind of caught up with me a bit,
was a coup, and we overthrew the king.
A bloodless,
bloodless clue over
bit of blood.
over a couple of beer.
I never really thought I would play as long as I did, but I exceeded what I thought would be a pretty reasonable goal in terms of years to be playing hockey. So I'm okay with that. I'm serene that I hung them up at my age. Even though we are a very chill bunch, there's still the risk of injury. So that was part of it. I just didn't want to end on a stretcher. The other was that, I had been doing it for 20 years. And as much as I truly love the bunch, it's still a lot of work. And, I just wasn't up to doing it another year. I've got other things on the go at this point as well that add an extra layer to the stuff I need to do.
Yeah, from there, for me, hockey has always been a year-round activity. And I've noticed that in Quebec, it is a 9-month activity, and people want to enjoy their summers. Enjoying summer for me is on the ice. And I think I need to just figure out how to schedule that. And obviously spoke to Peter about, do you mind if I just use the list a bit and see if the group wants to play this summer? And so we did that. And it was a good summer. It was a fun summer. And for me, especially, I just wanted to play. I was really can we pull this off that people are going to be able to play and attend? If I can organize, handle the stress, but never with the intention of necessarily taking over, and mindful of oh wow, we've had a good summer, now what, is kind of how this also played out. And so of course we had a conversation with Peter at the end of the summer about, are the stars aligning? Is there a handoff here? So we joke about a coup, but it from my side in particular, it came about out of desperation for wanting to play in the summer and basically play every single week, because I loved the group. I didn't want to lose the group. I play with other groups as well, but this is the one I feel the most attached to, and wanting to keep a legacy alive is now a big part of it for me, but it was absolutely just desperation, selfish desperation.
Yeah, and one of the things from April, the contract that Peter had up, and we were sitting around after a game and talking about in the fall whether it was going to come up, and Peter mentioned he didn't know. And so when Russ Keeber came to me, it was partway through the summer there, when I never really played much hockey in the summer either. So Adam was mentioned something about summer hockey, and I said, oh, well, why don't I keep reffing and whatnot? And I guess it was, the month of July, I guess Peter mentioned something to, I think he mentioned to Russ first, Keeber, and then Russ contacted me right away and said, did Peter tell you? And I said, not yet, he didn't. But soon after I talked to Russ, we were at a QAC thing, and Peter mentioned something about he was probably going to hang up the skates and the pen and the email list. And so then Dave Ballum and Russ Keeber and I were sitting around one time and having a beer, and we thought, well, why don't we get Adam involved, because he had done the summer hockey chasing after the players. So we decided to divide and conquer the jobs, and Adam took the players' lists and I took the contract at the PEPS and providing the adult beverages after the games. And so it was kind of an easy transition from Peter's way of doing things. We've kept the major core of guys that came the most over the years, and then every year there's a couple of new ones.
I think when I joined 10 years ago, there was more Anglo in the group than there are right now. And I think that's part of why we want to emphasize the Anglo-Franco side of this. And it's special that remains a big part of this. A connection within the community is definitely the goal.
It's never been an English only. From the beginning, probably half French.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Speaking.
Yeah. Well, part of that was because at the time I was working at CBC, same building as Radio Canada. Colleagues at Radio Canada, you find out they're hockey players. That was a bit of a gold mine for quite a few years.
My favorite memory is probably when we played at the Colisée the second time. Most of the players got around in the same room and were sitting around having a beer and just shooting the crap and just talking about where we'd come from and playing in the Colisée just before they probably shut the doors for the last time, I think, Peter.
Yeah.
You reserved the ice, and sorry for stealing your thunder for that. But also just the going out on a Saturday night with the boys and playing some hockey and having some fun with some guys every once in a while and having a beer after and just chilling and visiting would be my memories of it.
Colisée games were definitely a highlight, and there's a picture out there, and actually there's a picture in a friend's has a book about hockey of two friends and myself wearing our Maple Leafs jerseys, which we wore for for that game, one of the games at Colisée. But to me, the thing over the 20 years is the amazing diversity of people who have shown up over the years. We've had a German pilot, we've had a Dutch, some kind of engineering genius. We just people from all over the place. Adam was one of our star recruits from south of the border. age differences. To see guys who hadn't played hockey in many years, that kind of thing. I get back to that opportunity thing and people having a good time just enjoying the experience of hockey. One other little point, we've had women involved from the beginning, off and on. One of our best goalies ever was, remember Maude? She was
Yes,
an Army gal, but she was... Anyway, so women have always been welcome.
It was competitive, but it was never competitive to the point where somebody felt that they couldn't come back the next week and play, because we always managed to balance the teams out so it was fun for everybody.
Not always.
Yeah. You didn't, like even me, the plugger I was, didn't feel left out.
It was physical and this and that, but, clean and fun. And, I think the fact that you've got a range of skill in these groups, you got, the guys who are not so great playing with guys who are really good, thinking, hey, okay, that's kind of cool.
One of the things I enjoy the most, everything that they both said, of course, like just the vibe in the group is what kept me coming back. As a player, I definitely enjoy connection with another player on the ice. There's something about being in sync with somebody in a subconscious way. And so Russ Keeber and I have that on the ice.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Russ Keeber and I have that on the ice, and I've only had that with a handful of players over my time playing. And we're not professionals. We're not playing for anything in particular, but just to be able to like get back to the bench and kind of give each other a look, or even on the ice, and just to kind of know between us, like, yeah, that was good. Like we kind of read each other well there, is really gratifying in a very, very like primitive, basic way of just kind of like having a vibe.
Peter and I probably played for 10 years together on defense. Him and I. And he knew where I was going and I knew where he was going. And it worked out well for 10 years or probably 15 years together.
My rule was, don't give me the puck.
And then it was a grenade on my stick. So,
but then have that with the group in general, be able to hang out, getting together to watch the Grey Cup or go on a little road trip to Boston like some of us did earlier this year. Like things like that are really special. Like this group has become really important to my life in Quebec in particular, and therefore in my life.